The first thing you notice is the flowers, not the staircase. Not the smell of old tatami coming from behind the landlord's sliding door. The flowers. White chrysanthemums in a low ceramic bowl on a stand just outside the building next door. Perfect. Still. The kind of arrangement that does not happen by accident. You look at the landlord. He looks at the ceiling. The building next door, you say. What is it? He uses one word. You look it up later, standing in the empty room with your 2 suitcases. Sugi. Funeral home. The rent is 42,000 yen a month. In Tokyo, with a window and a functioning shower and a station 4 minutes on foot. You sign the lease that afternoon. Your first morning, you wake at 6:14 to a sound you cannot place. A low engine. Careful. Not a garbage truck. Something moving slower than traffic, slower than purpose. You go to the window. A dark van pulls away from the building next door. 2 men in black stand at the entrance, watching it go. One goes inside, the other stays. Hands folded, head slightly bowed. Then he looks up. He is maybe 72. Small. His jacket is the black of something worn often and cared for well. He has a face that has stopped performing expressions it does not mean. He sees you in the window. He does not wave. He does not look away. He nods once. Then he goes inside. You eat breakfast at your counter. Instant miso, kombini rice, an egg boiled for 7 minutes. Outside, the chrysanthemums do not move. There is a cup on your windowsill that was there when you moved in. You did not put it there. It has been washed. You do not know who washed it. You leave it where it is. His name is Saito-san. You learn this from the woman who runs the laundry on the ground floor. She communicates through eyebrows and treats your Japanese the way a surgeon treats a wound healing incorrectly. Slowly. With tools. She tells you he has lived next door for 3 years. That he works in the sougi-sha, that he arrives at 7:45 every morning and leaves at 6. Except on nights with a yorutsuya, a night vigil, and then he stays until 10. She says he is quiet. He does not cause problems. She says the last part looking at you. The second morning, Saito-san is at the entrance when you walk past. He is looking into the interior of the funeral home through the open door. Not at anything specific, just looking, hands folded, still. He stands this way for maybe 20 seconds. Then he turns and sees you. Yoku nemuramashita ka, he says. It means, did you sleep well? The intonation is not quite a question. Softer than that. More like an acknowledgement that sleeping is something you both attempted. And now the day is starting. Hi, you say. Yes, he nods. He goes inside. This happens every morning for 2 weeks before anything changes. You are 3 months into a job that brought you here. Corporate translation work. The kind that sounds important and consists of turning one type of careful language into another. You are good at it. You are less good at the other things. The city has weight. Your co-workers are polite in a way that has distance. Your apartment is the right size for someone who has fully arrived, and you are not fully arrived yet. Saito-san is the first person in Tokyo who asks if you slept well. He asks every morning. Same words, same tone. He does not build on it. He does not vary it. He places it between you, the way you place something on a doorstep, and walk away. You start to wait for it. One Tuesday in your 4th week, he is not there. The entrance is open. The chrysanthemums are fresh. A younger man in the same careful black nods at you as you pass. You nod back. It is not the same. Saito-san returns the next morning. He asks if you slept well. You say yes. He nods. You realize you have never asked him the same question. Not once. The bento appears in your 5th week. You come home at 6:48 on a Tuesday to find a small package outside your door. White cloth folded into a neat square, tied with a simple knot. Inside, rice packed firm. Tamagoyaki rolled tight. 1 pickled plum in the center of the rice. 2 pieces of simmered burdock root laid parallel. No note. You eat it at your counter. The rice is the temperature of something made that morning and kept with care. The tamagoyaki is slightly sweet. The burdock is darker than you expected, simmered long, with a taste that takes a moment to understand. You see him the next morning. The bento, you say. Was that from you? He nods once. You tell him it was very good. He looks at the chrysanthemums. My wife's recipe, he says. Then he goes inside. You stand there for a moment with that sentence. His wife. Present tense for a recipe. You do not know where the wife is. You do not ask. The bento comes every Tuesday after that. Always the same cloth. Always the same knot. Tuesday, you have learned now, was the day. You do not know what day yet. You just know it is always Tuesday. Your 6th week. You walk past as Saito-san receives a delivery. A wooden box. Narrow, slightly longer than a person. 2 men carry it from a white van. He holds the door. He sees you watching. He gives a small nod. The box goes inside. The door closes. You keep walking. Your legs carry you to the station the same way they always do, but the street feels different. More honest, maybe, about what it contains. The dinner happens on a Saturday in your 3rd month. You run into him at the convenience store. First time you have seen him outside the narrow space between your 2 buildings. He is standing in the prepared food section, holding a container of rice, with the focused expression of a man making a real decision. You stand next to him and look at the same container. "Do you cook?" he asks. "A little," you say. He is quiet for a moment. Then, "Come to dinner tonight." 7 o'clock. He puts the container back on the shelf. His apartment is on the ground floor, separated from the funeral home by a shared wall. You learn this when he opens the door at exactly 7. The apartment is clean in the way of someone who has been cleaning the same surfaces for years and developed opinions about where things belong. A low table, 2 cushions, a small shelf with books, a ceramic figure, a photograph you cannot see clearly from the entrance. He makes dinner without performing it. Rice, miso with tofu and wakame, grilled mackerel, pickled vegetables. Nothing elaborate, nothing that announces itself. You sit across from each other and eat. "This is simple," he says. Not apologizing, just noting. "It's very good," you say. He picks up a piece of mackerel. "This is the meal I would want to eat last, if I had the choice." You think he is talking about preference. About the comfort of familiar food over complicated food. You say that makes sense. He nods. You talk a little. He asks about your work. You explain it badly. He listens well. He tells you he has worked in Sugi for 31 years. That he started as a driver, that now he manages the preparation. He says this without inflection. The way you state a fact about geography, doesn't it? You start, you stop. Feel heavy? He says. Yes. He considers this the way he considers everything, without rushing, at first. Then you understand that people need it done well, so you do it well. That is enough. You walk home at 9:15. The chrysanthemums are pale in the dark. You stand at your window for a while and look at the wall between the 2 buildings. Somewhere on the other side, Saito-san is washing his dishes. You sleep better that night than you have in weeks. In your 4th month, you begin to notice things. The way his hands are always clean. Not obsessively, just clean in the way of someone whose work requires it, and who made the requirement part of himself years ago. The way he faces the entrance every morning before going in. Every single morning, standing still, looking at the inside of the place where he works. Not inspecting, something closer to acknowledging. The way he asks, "Did you sleep well?" and nothing else. Only that question, only the most basic measure of whether the night was survived. One Tuesday in your 4th month, the bento does not come. You notice at 7:30. You eat a kombini rice ball, standing at your sink. It tastes like plastic and convenience. You check the door again before sleeping. Nothing. Wednesday morning, Saito-san is at the entrance at 7:45. "Did you sleep well?" he says. "Yes," you say. Then, "The bento didn't come yesterday." He looks at the chrysanthemums. "I was at the hospital for an examination." "Are you all right?" "The cherry trees in Ueno are good this year," he says. You have learned enough Japanese and enough Saito-san to know that this is not a change of subject. It is an answer in a different shape. You do not ask again. The bento returns the following Tuesday. Same cloth, same knot. The tamagoyaki is rolled slightly differently. The layers looser than before. You notice this. You eat the whole thing. Your 5th month. The mornings have their rhythm now. 7:45. He stands at the entrance. 20 seconds, looking inside. Then he turns. Then the question. Then the day. You have stopped thinking of this as a ritual. It is just the morning. The same way the van at 2 in the morning is just a sound now. Not alarming. Part of the texture of the building. One night in your 5th month, you wake at 2:14 to the van. You lie in the dark and listen to it idle, then pull away. The engine fades. You lie there for a while. You think of Saito-san on the other side of the wall, also awake, maybe. Also listening. He has heard this sound more times than you can calculate. More than 10,000 times. If the math of 31 years and 1 van per night is anywhere close, you think of him asking every morning if you slept well. You think of how you always say yes. How you have never asked him the same. The conversation about his wife happens on a Tuesday evening in your 5th month. You return the cloth from the week's bento, and he is sitting outside his door on a low step in the early dark. Not doing anything, just sitting. You hand him the cloth. He takes it with both hands and folds it once. Automatically, the way you fold something you have folded 10,000 times. Your wife taught you the recipe, you say. Yes. Where is she now? He looks at the cloth. 8 years, he says. You understand. You say you are sorry. He nods slowly, taking it in. She used to bring bento to the men who worked with me. Every Tuesday. She said men who work with the dead forget to eat. He pauses. She was right. So you continued, you say. Someone should. He goes inside. You stand in the dark for a moment. Tuesday. She brought them every Tuesday. You receive one every Tuesday. You are standing inside a tradition that was never explained to you, passed to you by a man who gave no instructions, because instructions would make it smaller than it is. In your 5th month, the woman from the laundry sees you coming home with the bento cloth in your hand. She raises one eyebrow. You explain that your neighbor makes it for you. She looks at the cloth, then at you, then back at the cloth. She says something you have to ask her to repeat 3 times. On the 3rd time, you understand it. She says he has not made that bento for anyone in years. You do not know what to do with this information. You thank her. You go upstairs. You put the cloth down on your desk, next to the cup that was there when you moved in, the one nobody washed, the one you still cannot account for. You do not ask Saito-san about it. You already know that asking directly is not how things move between you. Information arrives when it arrives, in the shape it chooses. Something happens in your 6th month that you do not fully register at the time. Saito-san arrives at the entrance one morning 7 minutes late. Not at 7:45. At 7:52. He stands at the threshold, looking inside, for longer than usual. Not 20 seconds, more like 40. His hands, when he finally folds them, fold slightly wrong. The right hand takes a moment to find the left. You watch from the street. He does not see you watching. Then he straightens, nods at the entrance, goes inside. You keep walking. You file it the way you file things at 7 in the morning when you are already late for a train. Quickly. In a drawer you do not plan to reopen. 3 weeks before the end of your 6th month, you come home at 7 in the morning to find something outside your door. Not the bento cloth. A different package. Lighter. White cotton. Folded differently. You open it. Inside, a pair of white cotton gloves. Thin. Formal. Folded together. Palm to palm. The way hands fold in rest. No note. You hold them. They are not new. The cotton has the softness of something washed many times. These are gloves that have been used and kept and used and kept again. Work gloves. Actual work gloves. From someone's actual hands. You bring them inside. You set them on your desk. You look at them for a while. That morning, Saito-san is not at the entrance. The younger man in black is there. You ask. He says Saito-san is at home, resting. You knock on his door that evening. No answer. You knock again. You stand there and then leave. The building manager finds you the next morning. He is small, moves quickly, speaks in the compressed style of someone with too many things and not enough time. He says Saito-san has been taken to the hospital. He pauses. Then he says, Saito-san has been ill for some time. That he knew this before he came to live in this building. That he chose this apartment deliberately. The manager says it carefully, watching your face. Saito-san had been diagnosed 2 years before you moved in. The illness was serious, progressing. After the diagnosis, he decided to leave his previous apartment, which was far from his work. He searched for something closer. He found this building. The manager says he wanted to hear it. You do not immediately understand. The manager says, the sounds, the van in the morning, the silence that follows. He wanted to wake to those sounds every day, because it was his work, because he had done it for 31 years, because he said to the manager once that a man should not be afraid of the thing he has given his life to. He chose to live next door to a funeral home, because he was dying, and he wanted to practice hearing it every morning. Until it was just a sound. Until it was just the morning. You stand on the street. The chrysanthemums are white. You think of him standing at the entrance each day, looking inside for 20 seconds before going in. You read it as routine. It was not routine. He was standing at the threshold of the place his own body would pass through, and he was looking at it every morning, practicing, until it stopped being something to fear and became something to do. You think of the dinner, simple food, the meal I would want to eat last. He was not talking about preference. He was telling you something true, and you heard it as small talk. And he let you hear it that way, because some truths are kinder in the shape of ordinary conversation. You think of every Tuesday morning when you said yes, and he nodded, and neither of you asked the other anything more. You think of the gloves on your desk. He did not leave them as a symbol. He left them because they were his. And he was going through his things, and you were the person whose door was closest. Or maybe he wanted someone to have them who had watched the work happen, even from a distance, even without understanding it, and would know that the work was done with care. You go back to your apartment. The gloves are on the desk. You pick them up. You hold them for a while. Then you set them back down, palms together, the way they were left. He dies on a Thursday morning, the manager tells you. He says it was peaceful. The younger man in black stands at the entrance that morning. He looks inside for maybe 25 seconds, hands folded. Still, then he goes to work. You watch from the street. That afternoon you walk to the convenience store. You stand in the prepared food section. You look at the rice. You pick up a container of mackerel. You pick up tofu, miso packets, a small jar of pickled vegetables. You go home. You cook badly and slowly. The fish is slightly overdone. The miso is too salty. The rice is fine. You eat at your counter. It does not taste like his. It tastes like someone trying for the first time. Tuesday. It is Tuesday. The gloves are on the desk. You do not move them. Every morning you pass them on your way to the window. Some mornings, you stop at the window for a moment and look at the entrance of the building next door. 20 seconds, sometimes more. Then you go to work. This story is fiction, but Japan's tsugi profession employs more than 40,000 licensed funeral directors across the country. The average practitioner handles over 100 services per year. Most do this work for decades, in silence, with clean hands.